Good morning, everybody. It's a beautiful June 1st out here in southern Wisconsin. The sun is shining. It's about 65 degrees out. High is going to be in the low 70s. And yeah, I'm really excited. Today, I want to take you through my backyard garden here and just show you everything I've got and how it's doing. All right, so let's start with over here. We've got my cold frames. These were actually a present from my father-in-law. He had some old windows that he just had sitting in his garage doing nothing, so he built these platforms for me. And we've got some stuff growing in here. So on the left side here, we've got some arugula. So you got some newer stuff here that's almost ready to harvest. I think a couple more days and should be good to go. And then some smaller ones here that are just starting to come up on that side. And then on the other side here, I actually planted more arugula, although I did just plant it yesterday, so you're not really going to see anything. So it's just kind of a bare patch of dirt right now. These cold frames were great in like February, March, and April. Right now, I'm just going to leave them open all the time and just grow, treat them basically like a raised bed. You can see here I've got some hardware cloth strewn over the top of it. The reason for that is that we have a resident gopher. You can see some holes here that he has dug. We filled that one in, but there's a new one right here that he dug. And so, yeah, he hangs out in this lake or little pond back here behind my yard here that I'm very fortunate to have. Um, so yeah, I caught him actually going into the cold frame a couple of weeks ago. So I've had to put this over the top of it just to protect it. And we also have a lot of rabbits that go back here. So definitely something, unfortunately, that I need to do if I have the cold frame propped open like this is to have that extra layer of protection just to keep all the critters out of it. Okay, so that's the cold frame. Next thing here, let's pan over. Here's my main garden area. We'll get to that in a second. But first, we've got this little section here has my blueberry bushes, and they're doing okay. You can see this one here has got some red leaves, so it's not super healthy. I did just fertilize these a couple of days ago, so I'm hoping that they bounce back. So you got three of them here that are growing. Looks like this one here actually does have a couple of blueberries growing on it. I might relocate these. This isn't the best spot for them, and I've had to kind of put this crude fence around it. This was supposed to be temporary, but it's been here for a couple of years now. So I think the goal is to get it moved into the main fencing area. Um, so yeah, let's head on over there. This fence I actually did just install a couple of weeks ago. I originally had a fence that was just around the raised beds themselves, but I found that it was difficult to access the beds because one side was right up against the fence. And also the fencing that I was using, you can see some of the remnants of it right there, all rolled up. It did not actually keep the rabbits out. The rabbits were able to fit through the holes in the middle of it. They actually jumped. The way it works, this fence is the bottom of it is tighter, and then as you get towards the top, it's a little bit like looser, or the holes are bigger. And the idea is supposed to be that the bottom part keeps the rabbits out, and then the top part helps keep like deer out. But it didn't work. The rabbits were smart enough to jump up through the holes, and so I kept having rabbits in my yard. So what I have instead switched to is this hardware cloth. I don't love hardware cloth as a fencing material. You can see it does kind of wobble quite a bit. It's very hard to get it to be tight. So it's not the prettiest looking fence, but it definitely gets the job done. It has kept out all of the rabbits. Stay away from it now. Or my little gopher friend hasn't been able to get through this fence yet. And even the ground squirrels really have not really gone into the garden much at all. So it is effective. It's not the prettiest fencing, but it definitely gets the job done. So yeah, with that, let's head into the garden here. Uh, this gate I picked up from Menards, just comes as a kit. Pretty simple to put together. Again, not the prettiest, but it definitely gets the job done. It was pretty easy to set up, so I'm definitely okay with the result, I think. All right, so first thing here is you can see this nice archway that I got. This is a kit that I bought off of Amazon last year. I just put it in a couple days ago, and I did. Actually, it's been a couple weeks now. So on this side, we've got these are spaghetti squash. So you can see the little seedlings are starting to come up. This guy is a transplant that I put in here from. He was growing in my basement, so I just transplanted him outside. Um, I don't know. I kind of have mixed feelings on whether it's even worth starting squashes indoors because you can see these seedlings that I just direct sowed. like they're doing almost as well, and they may even at some point pass the transplant. So, but yeah, they're doing pretty good. They're pretty small still, but I think these guys are going to grow pretty fast. So I think in another month they're going to probably start to go up this trellis and start making me some spaghetti squashes. On the other side here, we've got cantaloupe. Unfortunately, my cantaloupe is just not doing as well. Like there's a couple. This is one that I transplanted. He doesn't seem to be doing too great. Maybe he'll pull through. I'm not sure. Here's another transplant, doing a little bit better, but still pretty small. And then a couple of seedlings that are just starting to poke through, but they're still, you can see they're really, really small. So I don't know, cantaloupe, I don't know if it's just this variety is just not doing well here or what, but yeah, it's definitely been a bit of a struggle. Um, this is a new type of setup for me. Normally I grow everything in raised beds, but I wanted to try just growing in like these mounds and just see, mounds here with with a trellis and see if like these squashes with their big heavy root systems, if they could just grow, more or less directly in the ground. I do have pretty heavy clay soil, so I'm not sure how this is going to work out, but yeah, it's kind of a good experiment. And if it doesn't work, what I can do next year is just mound these up a little bit higher and then just grow them as like pseudo raised beds where it doesn't have a side, but it's still mounded up soil that I can grow in. I do have another one over here. On this side, these are both pumpkins. So this side has the sweet pumpkins or the pie pumpkins. You can see these are actually doing really well. The two big ones here are ones that I transplanted outside. This one's actually flowering already. It's a very nice, pretty flower there. And then the seedlings they're coming along. They're a little small still, but it looks like they're doing pretty good. And then on this side, these are the like jack-o'-lantern type of pumpkins. These are doing pretty good. I did plant 4 seeds here. It looks like only 3 of them came up. There's a gap right there where the last one hasn't come up yet. But these seedlings they're looking really good. So I'm pretty optimistic about how these are going to fare. This is an apple tree. So this is kind of a cool thing. This is all apple trees are grafted. Like you can't just plant an apple seed and expect to get an apple tree. But what they did here was each branch, you can see there's a couple of main branches off the main trunk here, is a different tree. So there's like a Honeycrisp branch and a Gala branch and a couple other ones I can't remember at the moment. This tree is probably 3 years old now, and it's still fairly small. It does make a lot of apples, but they're always really, really small, and I sometimes wonder if I should just be pruning them off. You can actually see there's a whole bunch growing right here. They're just getting started. So we'll see if we get any sort of yield from this. I'm like I said though, I'm kind of torn as to whether it's even a good idea. I maybe just want to pull those things off and just let this tree focus on growing. Um, this is a much, much larger and older tree. This is a Honeycrisp apple tree. Last year, we got a ton of apples from it. We probably got like literally 100 apples from this guy. It was just amazing how much it created. And this year, I did not see a whole lot of blossoms, so I'm a little less optimistic. I don't really even see any apples growing on it right now. So I think this might just be a year where it's just going to focus on growing, even though it's already getting pretty big. But that's okay. It can certainly has a lot more room to grow, and in future years, hopefully we get lots and lots of apples again. But yeah, this tree it's sort of interesting. It usually doesn't do a whole lot in terms of apple production, but it seems to do a great job of growing. It's definitely prospering very well here. We got this at Costco, probably 5 or 6 years ago, maybe longer than that, maybe like 7 or 8 years ago, and it was the size of this tree originally. So definitely doing really, really good, and I'm interested to see how it grows going forward. And then the last tree we have here is a pear tree. This guy we just got last year, so he's just getting started. He's looking pretty good. Actually, I do see a couple of pears growing on this, so we might actually get a couple of pears to enjoy, perhaps. Um, but yeah, he still has a long way to go. Still a pretty young tree, so not expecting too much out of this tree for the next couple of years. Next thing here, this is my potato patch. I'm really, really happy with how these are going. This is my 4th year, I think, growing potatoes, and this is by far the best that they've ever looked. I've made a few changes, I think, that have allowed these potatoes to be as nice and prosperous as they are. One thing is that have switched over from growing in raised beds to containers. So you can see here I've got these 10-gallon grow bags. These are fabric grow bags. They're really nice because they're pretty cheap. You can get these for like, you know, a 10 pack of bags you can get for like maybe $20. So 25 bucks. So you're talking $2 or $3 per bag, which is, you know, an incredible price compared to like buying, you know, a plastic container or a ceramic container. Um, yeah, and these leaves are really nice dark green. I think the key reason for that is that first of all, I used brand new municipal compost, and I mixed in some perlite because last year I just did pure compost, and I had a lot of issues with the soil getting really clumpy and like really wet, and that caused a lot of the potatoes to rot. So I think the perlite has helped a lot. And I switched my fertilizer. I use Hollytone, which is if you're familiar with like plant tone or tomato tone, it's a the same brand of fertilizer, and it says it's meant for like really acidic plants like blueberries or hydrangeas. But I thought I would try it with potatoes because potatoes do like acidic soil, and man, it's definitely paying off. Looking fantastic here. I think that's a big reason why these are so nice and lush and beautiful looking. And then the last reason, let's see if I can zoom in here and show this. I do have, as you can see here, this drip line. So this is a new installation. I'll show more of it in a second here. I added drip irrigation to my garden, and that has been a huge time saver. I'm able to water my entire garden, you know, automatically. There's a couple spots that aren't hooked up yet, like the trees. Everything we've looked at actually so far, like the trees and the squash plants, are not hooked up yet. But I think once I get this all mulched, so right now you can see it's all grass. I want to get there's a service called Chip Drop where arborists can drop mulch in your, you know, in your driveway, and they give you like gigantic quantities, you know, like 20 yards of mulch. So I'm going to mulch this whole thing in, and then I'm going to fill in the rest of the system with drip irrigation. So that's going to, I think, really, you know, make this garden look really nice. And then also, you know, basically fully automate the watering of it. I have it on a timer. It runs every other day for a half hour. So yeah, I think that's a big reason why, though, that these potatoes are so lush and beautiful is that they're getting very consistent watering. The leaves aren't getting wet at all because it's drip irrigation. It's only watering the soil, so there's very little waste as well. So I'm really happy with how this is turning out. I do have 30 containers here, and I think that if everything goes perfectly, I can probably get like 1 to 200 pounds of potatoes, maybe even close to 300 pounds if everything goes perfectly. I don't know what I'm going to do with that many potatoes, but I'm really excited to see if I can grow that many potatoes in this small of a space. All right, let's head on over, past this apple tree here, and head over to our raised beds now. So if you remember from my last video, I did plant these out. These carrots here on this side, they're looking really good. I did have to thin them a couple days ago. Excuse me. Looks like we got a couple weeds here growing, so let me just pull these out real quick here. Always more weeds to pull. Okay, there we go. And then on this side, we have the parsnips, and man, these parsnips are just looking fantastic. Just really nice big green leaves. It's pretty recently, actually, that they have even started to look this good. Um, Up until probably, I would say about a month ago, there was almost no growth. Like these were really slow to sprout. I was kind of worried that I did something wrong and that nothing was going to grow. But they did eventually sprout in the beginning of May, which I think is kind of late for carrots, even in my zone, zone 5. But now they're doing great. So, you know, just going to let these keep doing their thing. And yeah, I think they're looking good. Here you can see the drip irrigation. The hose comes in. The gray hose right here comes from, you know, around the corner there is where the hose comes in. Maybe someday I'll bury it. I don't know. I think it's fine right now. It's you know, especially if I get some mulch, I can probably just put it underneath the mulch, and that should be good enough. I have a 1/2 inch line here. I bought a kit off Amazon to, you know, like an irrigation kit. Although I don't use most of it, I actually just bought like irrigation line for the most part. I find that that's much easier to set up and much more effective. Let's see if I can find one of these here. Yeah, these guys, like you can see this orange guy here, or it's orange. The blue here is you know, what comes with the kit, and these really don't do a very good job because they only cover a small area, and they're really hard to set up because you have to like run the line to each spot. So you have to like cut it to the right length and then hook it up into like the main half-inch line here. And so I had like hoses running everywhere, and it just looked really really ugly. Whereas this, I do need like I do need to bury this line. That is something I want to do sooner than later. I've just kind of kept it out for now, just in case I want to make some changes. But I think once I bury this half-inch line, it's going to look really nice. Like it's going to be, you can see here in the beds that like the line is, it was easy to put in because I just run like like an S shape through here, and it was really quick and easy to do. So I think it's going to look really good. It's definitely performed really well. Like it does a great job of keeping the beds nice and watered, and the plants are looking really nice. All right, anyway, on with the tour here. These are sunflowers. I definitely think I planted these way too close together, so I may have to thin some of these out. But I think for the most part, they're doing pretty good. I think we should be able to hopefully get some sunflowers this year. Last year I tried to plant some, and I think the birds just ate all of them. And definitely looks like I lost a few this year, but yeah, I think they're looking pretty good. Here we've got strawberries. So this, I tried to grow strawberries indoors hydroponically. Didn't work so well, so I moved them outdoors, and these are the ones that I have left. So I've got like 4 or 5 plants. Um, Here we've got, I think this is a cauliflower plant. He's the only one here. I tried to do or not direct sowing. I tried to do winter sowing of them, and for the most part, it didn't really work that well. This is the only plant that really did anything, so I just threw it in the bed here just to see what it would do, and it's actually growing really well. So, yeah, for whatever that's worth, we'll see if we get a cauliflower out of this or not. But yeah, it's growing. And then next to it here, I have some pepper plants. So this is just some overflow that I had from my other bed that we'll look at in a second here. I believe these are probably a hodgepodge of different ones. I think these in the front here might be like poblano peppers, and then those in the back are either banana or jalapeno. And then here I have a row of radishes. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, I really struggle to grow radishes. Looks like these are actually doing okay. They're getting pretty close to being ready to harvest. Um, yeah, they're pretty small. This is typically how they go for me, is they end up being like pretty small. So I'm going to give these a little bit longer. I don't think they're quite there yet, but hopefully I can actually get a harvest on radishes for once. All right, here is my pepper bed. So we have, let's see, there's 18 pepper plants in this bed, and then another 5 or 6 in this bed. So we've got like 25 pepper plants. It should be a pretty decent amount. I did change it up a little bit this year. I went with just 3 wide in my 4x8 bed, whereas last year I had it was like 4 wide by I think 4x4. So I went from like 16 plants, which I think was just too many. It was just too crowded. So now I'm down to 9 plants. I think this looks much better. Definitely much better spacing between the plants here. But yeah, as far as which varieties I've got, on the front here we've got the Jimmy Nardello, very very nice prolific pepper. And most of these are sweet peppers. The only exception is in the middle here. These are jalapeno peppers. In the back, I think are some banana peppers. And let's see if I have any labels here for what these are. I think I have some. I don't see the labels for some reason. I don't know where they went. But yeah, I have some like peppercini plants and a lot of poblanos. So I think most of the ones actually on this side are poblanos. Really excited to get some poblanos this year. Tried to grow them last year. I did not have a whole lot of success. And Anaheims too. Yeah, there's a couple of Anaheims here. But yeah, I tried to grow them last year. Didn't have a lot of success. And then this year, for whatever reason, the plants did really, really well. So excited to see how these end up doing. Looks like they're off to a really good start. We're at the beginning of June here. So the season's just getting started, and these guys are looking good. So yeah, looking forward to that. On the front here, I've got some arugula. These guys I just harvested yesterday, so they're looking a little bit bare right now. But I'll let them go one more time, let them grow some leaves, and then I'll harvest them and take them out. The bed here is next to them is zucchini. So you can see I just got these started. I did just direct sow these a couple weeks ago, and they're just starting to come up. There's one right there that's coming up. This guy transplanted from inside, and there should be a couple more. I don't know if they've come up yet, but there should be another one around here somewhere. Looks like it hasn't come up yet. You can see I have a problem with the grass in the garden here. That's one of the downsides of gardening right next to a beautiful conservancy like this, is that the seeds just come in and just ravage the garden here. It's so hard to keep up. This bed in particular, I don't know, for whatever reason, I've just had a heck of a time trying to get you know uh, trying to stay ahead of the weeds. Here's my raspberry patch. I have not had much success with growing raspberries. We have a lot of issues with spotted wing Drosophila, I think that's how you say it, or SWD. It's a fruit fly that, unlike normal fruit flies that only put their eggs into rotten fruit, these actually will go into soft fruits that are um, that are still fresh. So we've definitely had a lot of issues with it, and this is gross, like the little maggots will end up inside of the raspberries. And so I've kind of been a little bit scared, honestly, of eating the raspberries because we've had such a problem with them. I think if I do get on top of like spraying with spinosad, that does keep them at bay. But it's just, I don't know, man. I just have such a hard time knowing that they're here, and that they're constantly getting in and infecting these plants that and also the plants here are just not doing very well. You can see there's quite a few gaps here. So I might be taking this bed out in the next year or two and just, I don't know, either moving these raspberries somewhere else or just getting rid of them. And you can see with the fence, this hill is kind of on a slope, and so um, I did have to put the fence pretty close here. Like I can barely fit through this gap here, and you can see I had to put some cardboard down because the weeds have gotten so bad. So I don't know. This bed, I don't know if I'm going to be keeping this around, but it's there for now, and I do definitely have some raspberries growing, and we'll see what they do. Um, but yeah, here I've got this is like an heirloom tomato that it's like a slicer tomato. So got three of them in here. It looks like they're doing pretty good. So yeah, pretty excited to see how these go. I did just trim these so that they're not growing too close to the ground here. You don't want your tomatoes to touch the ground because tomatoes are notorious for getting diseases. Looks like some birds decided to poop on these leaves, so that's going to be great. Hopefully that doesn't cause any problems. Um, but yeah, we'll see. Keep an eye on those. But it looks like they're doing pretty good for the most part. Next row here, these are, I believe, the cucumbers. So they're just starting to come up. Looks like I planted these too close together, so I may have to like move earth in them. But you can kind of see them starting to come in here in this row. You can see a couple more right there. And then next to it here is some acorn squash. Again, it looks like I just planted these too close together. Um, but yeah, we'll have to do some maybe thinning of that. And then on the end here is my asparagus patch. This has been doing really, really good this year. Have gotten a ton of asparagus from it. Again, you can see it's quite weedy. Unfortunately, the weeds, because it's a perennial bed, I can't like turn it, and so I have to just manually like try to pull the weeds, and I don't really want to spray anything either. So I've been trying to stay on top of weeding, but man, it's really hard. And then like once these start to go, once I'm done cutting them and they start to go frondy, then it becomes really difficult to weed. So the weeds have just really taken advantage of that. Yeah, and then this bed too is it's a mixture of raspberries, or sorry, not raspberries, strawberries. You can see I got some strawberry plants here, and then some more asparagus plants growing in here as well. Um, yeah, so this is more of like the perennial part of the garden here. Um, yeah. Okay, next up here we've got some bush beans. This is my first year growing bush beans. I'm kind of interested to see how that goes. Looks like they're doing pretty good so far. I did just put in some lima beans in this section right here, but nothing's coming up yet. I did just plant them like a week ago, so probably too early to get anything just yet. Next up here, we've got, these are my red cherry tomatoes. This is something that I've been growing in my garden for probably like 15 years now. It's one of my favorite things that I grow, and it looks like they're doing really good. They're still pretty small. It's still early in the season, but they, have a nice dark green leaf. I don't see any signs of disease. And yeah, it looks like we've got a lot of shoots coming off of the main stem here. So I think we're looking good there. Um, Actually, these are looking even better. These are my sun gold tomatoes. These are probably my favorite thing that I grow in my garden. Like the tomatoes are just absolutely delicious, super sweet. Um, they've been a staple in my garden for a very long time. I'd say the entire time I've been gardening, like 15 years now. These have always been in my garden. I've saved the seeds every year, and they're just doing great. Yeah, so favorite thing, and yeah, nice to see that they're once again doing really, really well. So hopefully, get a nice yield of those this year. And oh, and something new actually, you can see here the pattern here of having like looks like about three per 4x4 bed. Normally, I would plant a lot more tomatoes, but I'm going to try just having a little bit more spacing this year, just to see if I get better growth and better yields. So it's a little weird right now. Like you can see, there's some pretty big gaps. Like right here, there's a big gap in the garden, and right here as well. But I think these plants will grow fast and grow really big, so I probably will end up, having some sort of plant, whether, one of these three will probably, or a combination of them will fill up the space. So we'll see how that ends up going. And then on the end here, we've got some tomatillos. These have been a little slow since I put them in. Like it seems like they're almost growing up. Like the stem is getting bigger, but it's not really adding any more leaves. So not really sure what's going on here, why it's growing like that. But yeah, we'll have to see how these grow. Um, I've had mixed results in the past. I had one year where I had grew tomatillos and I got a ton of them, and then the past couple of years I did not have a lot of success. So we'll see, how these end up doing this year. Okay, coming around here, this is my sugar snap pea bed. I planted probably like 50 of these plants here in this 4x8, and they're doing really, really well. Tons of flowers here. Every one of these flowers is going to turn into a sugar snap pea. So we're going to have a lot of peas, I think, going forward here. So definitely excited to see how that turns out. Um, and then next here, this is my garlic. Been growing garlic for 3 or 4 years now. I started with just some seed garlic that I got online, and then I just save the best ones every year. So that's been working really well. Um, yeah, it looks good for the most part. There's definitely a couple plants here that for whatever reason didn't do well. You can see like this guy here. I don't know what happened to him, but yeah, for the most part, I think these are doing pretty good though. In the end here, I did put in some nasturtiums. So you can see these cute little guys are starting to come in. So those are looking good. And yeah, so that is it for the backyard. Let's go up to the front now and we'll take a look there. Okay, so here we are in the front yard. This is my driveway, and these are some onions that have been growing. Um, these two rows right here are leeks. They're planted pretty close together, but I think that's okay because they're just leeks. They're not, going to grow an onion bulb. In the middle here, we've got some Spanish onions. So these guys are looking pretty good. Um, and then here we've got some bunching onions. They're growing huge, so it looks like these need to be harvested. And then I got a little patch of cilantro right here. It looks like it's doing pretty good. And then last here, I've got some vertical planters here. These are basically like a knockoff green stock. I've not really honestly been very impressed with them so far. You can see I did put some strawberries in here. These are more of the ones that I transplanted from my indoor hydroponics setup. But I'd say overall they're not doing very good. A lot of these. I did also try to buy some bare root plants from Menards, and I think only one of them, you can see this guy right here, is the only one that actually made it. All the other ones that I tried to plant here, like they just didn't, they just never came out of dormancy. So I don't think I would buy from them again. These these were bare root strawberries that I bought online, and they did much better. So I definitely would do that again if I were to ever get more strawberries. But as far as these planters go, I don't know, man. I just, for whatever reason, like I've just had a ton of issues with these drying out really fast. They're really shallow, so they're not really good for anything that requires a deep root system. And the holes are really small. So not sure I would get these again. It was a fun experiment. Maybe I can make something work in here. I don't know, like radishes might do okay in here, or greens like arugula would probably do okay, although I already have the cold frame for that. So not really sure what I'm going to do with these going forward, but hopefully I can figure something out. And then I do have a tomato plant back here. I did transplant this from inside of my hydroponic system. I've just been keeping it here in the shade just as it gets acclimated to being outside. So yeah, that is a tour of my garden for the beginning of June. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If you like it and want to see more videos similar to it, definitely give this video a like. And if you want to be notified, definitely subscribe. All right, thanks for watching.